Now then, elsewhere today, it is a very busy day for shopping, whether or not you're going to be doing it online with the local retailers or maybe you're going to be going to the supermarket. Shoppers, though, being encouraged to visit independent stores on the high street as part of the annual Small Business Saturday. The government says today is a chance to generate a boost for 5 million small firms in the run-up to Christmas. With more, our business correspondent Joe Lynham.
This is only the third year of Small Business Saturday in the UK, the idea for which was imported from the US. Any firm with fewer than 50 employees is considered a small business, and in Britain 99% of all companies are in that category, employing 12.4 million people. But small firms face a battle competing with giant companies with a presence all over the country. The Chancellor, George Osborne, said that Small Business Saturday was an opportunity to champion some brilliant entrepreneurs and firms. The Federation of Small Businesses says that for every pound spent at an independent company, around 70p stays in the local economy.
Joe Lynham reporting. Well, I'm joined in the studio now by a Sussex businesswoman who was up in London yesterday meeting, and you heard him mentioned in that report from Joe, the Chancellor, George Osborne. Stephanie Woolven from West Chiltington has her own luxury lingerie business called StephieAnn Design, and she recently won the Rising Star Award at the Sussex Women in Business Awards. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Lovely to see you this morning. Now, ladies' lingerie, not my area of expertise, but what I've been looking at this morning, the sort of stuff that you do is very special. Just tell me about the typical design that you do to make your products.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a textile designer, so it's all my drawings and my photography digitally printed onto silk and then made in Wales into lingerie. It's all inspired by poetry, so a poem by Dylan Thomas where he talks about everlasting love and love surviving at times of adversity. So I froze all the flowers, I melted them, I took recordings of this process, I shattered them with a hammer, and so that even though I tried to destroy the flowers, they're still beautiful, as was his love.
So what is your background? Give me a bit of your background.
I am a textile designer. So I studied at Chelsea College, 3 years for textiles, and I did a year in New York where I studied women's wear and pattern cutting. And then after I graduated, I went straight into setting up my own business.
So when did you know during that process, I'm going to run my own business? Because you could have gone off to work for a large retailer. Why your own business? When was that moment where you thought, I know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to go about it?
I think it was always there in the background. I come from a family which is self-employed, so it's always an option for me, and it just slowly happened. There wasn't a moment, it just kind of slowly fitted into place. And after I graduated, I didn't know really what to do. So at that point, I had all this beautiful fabric. And I thought, let's make something with it. Knickers don't take up a lot of fabric. So I started cutting up and trying to sew my own knickers.
And there's been a lot of conversation over the last 24 hours, for example, on this radio station and elsewhere. Do you buy your Christmas presents this year online? Do you buy them in the shops? I mean, you essentially do market online, but you are a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best way to get up and running initially. The costs are lower. It's obviously, I would love to be in a boutique, but I'm not at that stage yet.
Is the boutique in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. If not my own boutique, then selling wholesale.
Yeah. And how difficult is it then to kind of make that move? Because presumably, I mean, one of the reasons you're doing it online is the fact that the cost of being in the high street would be that much more significant for you.
It would, that's absolutely correct. So getting into the boutique is the ideal thing, but then I would take a lot less profit. And as a small business, my profit margins are quite tiny already. So online is the best way for me to get out there.
And how is business going?
Good, really good for Christmas. Very exciting. It's my second Christmas, but more so this year I'm prepared for it. So I've got all the marketing done, all the PR done, and it's just getting the sales in. And
when you don't have a shop front to market those goods, how do you spread the word? You talk about marketing and getting the press right and so on. I mean, you're on this radio station this morning,
exactly.
which people will hear about you and may be interested in what you do. But how do you spread the word? Is it word of mouth for your business? That somebody comes and they tell their friends. How do you spread the business word?
It is predominantly word of mouth. I do a lot of shows. I do country living shows,
Sure.
Handmade at Q, and social media. I'm all over Twitter and Instagram. And you've just got to push yourself in any way you can to stand out from the crowd.
Tell me about George Osborne. You were in London yesterday.
Yes, yeah, that was quite a funny event. It was nothing went according to plan, and it was a bit hectic, but it was a great chance just to shake his hand and just to say, here I am, I'm a small business, I'm getting out there.
So how did you get the invite?
Well, actually, I was kind of awarded this invite. 100 small businesses were chosen. Lots of small businesses had to do a video pitch to Small Business Saturday, and I had to write an application. And out of those applications, 100 were chosen, and during the 100 days running up to Small Business Saturday, every day there's been a different business showcased.
The economy was obviously a massive issue in the general election earlier on in the year. Do you sense, I mean, words from politicians are fine, but do you really get the sense that George Osborne and indeed the Conservative Party are on the side of small businesses like yours, or could they be doing more?
I do. I think they could be doing more, especially for young entrepreneurs like myself.
Such as, what could they do to help?
Just a lot more, a little bit more funding perhaps, and a bit more backing in regards to mentoring and helping with more the academic side of business, because as an arts student, I have the Prince's Trust, but I kind of make it up as I go along.
And were you able to get that message across yesterday, or was it a very fleeting visit, as it were?
It was a fleeting visit. I had enough time for a handshake and to hand over a Christmas card.
Yes, but and did he purchase any lingerie?
He didn't. No.
Well, there was an opportunity missed, wasn't it?
I know. Well, I gave him a Christmas card, and it was full of postcards. So hopefully he'll hand it over to Francis.
Hopefully you'll see his credit card details appearing on your website. Looking to the year ahead, I mean, how do you continue to build the business in the next 12 months?
Well, now I've got my manufacturing sorted. That was the first thing. It's now manufactured in Wales, in one of the last remaining silk specialists in the UK. So now it's about getting into boutiques, getting more of a presence, and being on the high street more.
And was that important to manufacture in the UK? Because presumably you could go to, I don't know, Hong Kong, and it would be perhaps cheaper in terms of the manufacturing.
I could, but it was so important to have it based in Britain. And just because I go there and I talk to the seamstresses, I know them by their names, Kathy and Betty. I know they're stitching my lingerie.
Okay. I need to buy Mrs. Carter something for Christmas. Maybe I should take a look at the website. It's been really good to meet you. Thank you for coming in early on this Saturday morning.
Thank you.
Good to meet you. Stephanie Woolven there from West Chiltington at 7:47 now. You're listening to BBC Sussex Breakfast, and these are the headlines. Protesters fighting plans for the redevelopment of the North Street...